Yes, overtraining is real, but it is much, much, much harder to reach than people think. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today. And, here's the thing. You guys, I don't need to say my age. You guys know how old I am. I'm not a spring chicken. Okay? Also, not blasting large amounts of gear here. And you guys see how I train these days, right? Look, this is just clips from my training. I train 5 or 6 days a week on a power building, bodybuilding type split, right? You guys, on that same week right there, this is one of the 3 sets. I did 3 sets of 3 on the pause bench with 315. You guys saw me doing triples with 550 on the deadlift. And I come in and I'm doing large amounts of hypertrophy work after all of this, right? Again, 5-6 day split. I'm literally doing 40 sets of curls a week because my arms need the work. Most of my training is close to failure or at failure. I do cardio every day. I do all of it fasted. Let me state that again. I train fasted. I have black coffee. That's it. Black coffee is the only thing I have before I train. I've had clients and know people who take it to this extreme too. I'm not even unique. Now, I have clients who struggle with recovery, but here's the thing. When your lifestyle is in order, you can handle enormous amounts of training. You can handle enormous amounts of training, okay? And I've done phases where I did 3 or 4 days. I've even talked about one day I might go down to 3-day-a-week training, and that's okay when you get older, when life gets in the way, right? But overtraining itself is very hard to reach. I have previously got to a point where I reached a state of overtraining. So let's just use me as an example. Back in my early 40s, right? When was it? Was it early or almost mid 40s? A number of years back, I was training 7 days a week, not 6, training 7. I was also hitting a training max to a 1 rep max every single day, rotating exercises, conjugate style, then doing large amounts of hypertrophy, but a lot of it was big compounds. Okay? I don't do that many compounds. I don't do more than 2 or 3 in a single day. All right? Most of my work is isolation then. So what do you mean compounds? We'll do some incline and dumbbell benching on bench day. Shoulder day, we might do a barbell overhead press, and we might do some upright rows. Okay? Everything else is isolation. We'll do some pull-ups and rows on back day. Everything else is arm work, right? We just do biceps and stuff after that. Legs, I only do 1 or 2 sets of squats. But then we come in and we do a bunch of machine work. And I'll do 12, 13 sets of leg extensions after doing my belt squats and other stuff, right? Do some standing calves. Okay, but that's how we train. All right, that's how we train. That's how I'm training these days. Now, granted, I'm not quite where I need to be, so I'm training that way to get bigger. I need to fill out a lot of areas. I need to get more aesthetic. I need to get leaner. All right, train fasted though. But the other time I reached the overtraining, training 7 days a week. But it took me months for that to happen. You guys know that by the time I reached that, I was hitting deadlift PRs. I was training 7 days a week, and I pulled a 605. That was the first time I've deadlifted over 600 since I was in my late 20s, right? You guys remember all in powerlifting, I was pulling high 500s and stuff. I broke 600. Then I hit a 615. Then I started getting overtraining symptoms. But how much of it was from doing deadlift maxes and PRs? Doing 550 squats. Okay? And then too many big compounds after with no days off. It took me 6 months before I got signs of overtraining. 6 months of that. So when people say they're worried about overtraining, I'm not saying it's not real, but it takes a lot more than you think it does. Okay, and it doesn't happen off the small movements. Dude, you're never going to reach an overtrained condition from doing curls and press downs and calf raises. Okay, this is not going to happen. It is our big movements, too heavy, too often. That's what will push you into that state. You're not going to get it off smaller movements. You might get some localized overuse. Pick your exercises. Carefully rotate them. Okay? Again, a lot of the before people say, well, it's because of all the gear today. And all right, except that a lot of the old timers trained like that. They used to train hours a day before gear was really a thing. A lot of them were jacked and lean. So it's not really that concerned. What our concern with, for a lot of people say, but how come you have clients who only do like 6 or 8 work sets? I do. We only train 3 days a week. Why? They're not able to adapt to the higher volumes, meaning their recovery and lifestyle isn't on point enough to benefit from it. Therefore, because their stressors in life reach it to a point to where they're not fully recovering from it session to session, what happens? Well, they'll just make less gains. But there's a difference between a little bit of under recovery to the point to where we're getting into junk volume and you're getting no adaptations, okay, and actual overtraining. The other thing is, I mean, I've seen it suggested, I've seen even some evidence-based guys suggest that junk volume may not even really be a thing. Point of continual diminished return, sure. Are you always going to burn through some body fat, some calories, and maybe make some minor positive adaptations? There's probably no upper threshold to that. I mean, realistically, there's always some potential body composition benefit to almost any amount of training volume. We could argue it's junk volume if the intensity is so low there's no training response. But as long as your sets are fairly hard, within a couple reps of failure, is there any true junk volume? I don't know that there really is. There's definitely under recovery, though, from people not being able to get the most out of it because their diet's not good, their sleep's not good, their stress is too high. Sure, that's a thing. That's definitely a thing, and we have to think about that, and we have to be aware of that. We have to factor that in. We have to, we can, and we should, right? Yeah, full stop, 100%, absolutely. Right? Absolutely. But that's not overtraining. Overtraining is when your lifts start going down, you're getting cramps, insomnia. That takes a lot. And sorry guys, you're not reaching that on 4 days a week. You're just not. And that's the reality. And what I would suggest to people, you adapt to these workloads. And really where people run into the problems is too much of the heavier work, okay? You're not getting it from sets of 15 whole curls or laterals. Too many heavy squats, too many heavy deadlifts, too much heavy benching where you're beating your joints into the ground, okay? That is our concern, and that should be a concern. But for someone doing, 12 sets of isolation after their big compounds, no, you're probably not overtraining. This is not a real concern. You might just need to focus on your recovery a little more, mitigate your fatigue overall better, but you're not reaching the true overtrained condition. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.